So we need to prepare to fight fire with fire.
The head of Canada's largest union, Unifor, has been selected to lead a new group advising Ontario's government on how to fight U.S. protectionism. This week, the province announced the creation of the Premier's Council on U.S. Trade and Industry Competitiveness. We spoke with Jerry Diaz about what this new role means for us. He warned that tax credits being considered in the U.S. threaten to undermine efforts to produce electric vehicles in Canada.
So what do we do about it?
Can you kind of take us through what's being proposed in the U.S. and how and why it would have the impact here in Ontario?
Well, for example, they're proposing a straight buy America provision for in the auto industry, for example, that will give $12,500 rebates on American assembled vehicles. Well, it sounds great in theory because we are very much understanding that governments should put their own citizens to work. But the auto industry is so complex, it's so different. It's as if the border doesn't exist. So I don't know how the U.S. would be able to determine what vehicles are built with majority U.S. parts. Let me give you an example. In Windsor, the minivan is assembled by Unifor members in Canada, but all the major components come from the United States.
We have trade agreements, the Auto Pact, NAFTA, more recently USMCA. What rights have we negotiated under those agreements that you're going to be looking to?
So what the U.S. is doing right now, I would argue violates the new NAFTA. We could take them on within the WTO, but the U.S. doesn't care. If I take a look at the softwood lumber dispute that we've got going on right now, I mean, every time we go to the WTO, when they implement protectionist tariffs against us, we win. But it doesn't matter. They proceed anyway.
Now, there's always a little bit of a tussle over the good manufacturing jobs, the auto jobs. Am I getting a sense that this is very different from disputes in the past?
Well, it is because they're looking to cherry pick the relationship.
If the relationship doesn't come through and the U.S. moves forward in a way that is going to be detrimental to Ontario, do you feel confident that we are capable of packing that return punch, if you will, that would make that unappealing for them?
It would be very difficult for the United States to build electric vehicles without our raw materials.
We're seeing a few other economic factors crop up as well over the past year. We've got the supply chain, the inflation. Are these things that factor in at the same time?
Well, it's huge. I mean, the auto industry is running at a fraction of its normal capacity because of the microchip shortages, because, frankly, the industry is wholly dependent on facilities in Taiwan and Korea.
American Congress is also debating measures that could threaten other Ontario industries like lumber, steel, and agriculture. In Oakville, David Zura, City News.